record that. I love your squirrel. What did you say it has a name?
His name is Geronimo, but we call him Jerry.
Nice. I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll do a quick intro so that when I post this on social media, it makes sense to people. So awesome. Well, thank you so much, Andrea, for joining us. Andrea is the author of this amazing book, Mural Money, and she's agreed to do an interview with Lucie. Lucie is doing her passion project for homeschooling on starting an art business.
Yes.
And so Andrea has graciously agreed to give us some of her time so that Lucie can ask her questions about how to start her business and give us some wisdom from her book.
Yes.
So awesome. I will turn it over to you, Lucie.
Okay. What is the most important thing you talk about in your book?
I think the most important thing is effort. So, and it sounds so simple, right? You know, but so as I've noticed, so I have this thing called the Artist Academy where people come in and I teach them how to build an art business. And I can almost tell right away which artists are going to make it and which ones might take a lot longer to make it. And it really comes down to effort. And because if you really want to be an artist, if you're really into it, you'll find the resources. And if you put in a lot of energy in it, there's no way someone isn't going to make it, you know, like it just comes down to even posting on social media every day and reminding people that you're an artist, or practicing every day, painting every day. It really just comes down to effort. And, you know, there's a lot of ways in my book that I tell how to give effort and how to do all the things, but I've noticed that a lot of artists, they want to read it and then they just want to magically become an artist, but it's just not, it doesn't work out that way. I think the barrier to entry and to become an artist is relatively low, but like, because we all can paint, right? And we all can draw, and we all have some kind of like little bit of artistic, you know, ness to us that we can develop. There's a lot of people who are good at art in some way, but there are very few people who are going to practice to be really good at it, or, you know, put themselves out there to go pitch at a business and whatnot. So it really just comes down to effort. And my book tells you all the ways to give that effort, but it's really up to the reader to do it.
Okay. Sit down.
Yep.
Okay. What designs do people like? Do I read the other part?
No, you can read that. You can
Okay.
say it. It's like, what kind of designs do people generally are people's favorites that you do?
Like, what designs do people, like most people really want, I guess?
Yeah, I'd say so. It's different. I think as the times change, people's styles change too. Like right now, kind of very like modern, clean type stuff. A lot like I personally like a lot of very minimal things. So like you could do like a simple black and white wallpaper or whatnot. But let's see. It's actually one that people love around here in Missouri is they love the old style look. So I can paint it brand new, but make it look old. And you do that in such a way to where maybe the paint doesn't cover all the spots on the lettering, or sometimes I'll even take a sander to it and just sand away some of the paint, and it makes it look old. People really like that, and it's really easy to do.
Oh,
That's cool.
and then the second part of that would be,
What is popular in art sales?
kind of touched
Yeah.
What's popular?
Oh, I said you kind of touched on that. I don't know if there was anything else you wanted to add as far as what like is most profitable right now.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So as for most profitable, murals are the most profitable thing by far. And because really, and a lot of artists typically are intimidated by doing murals. Can you hear me? Is that?
Yeah, we can hear it, but it's fine.
Move away from this thing. Like it's usually super loud. So yeah, murals are by far the most profitable thing, and that's the thing that I do the most of, and because it's really just using a bigger brush. You know, a lot of artists are intimidated by doing murals because they're so big, but it's really just the exact same as painting on a canvas, and you can paint on a wall. It's the exact same thing, just using a bigger brush. And I think it's actually easier. And because you don't have, with murals, you don't put as much detail in it, because not typically people aren't like really close to it like you can be a canvas. Mostly it's just a step back kind of a thing. And so murals are by far the most profitable thing that I've found so far.
Cool.
Mhm. What is your favorite part about having an art business?
So working for myself. So you can't put a price on being your own boss. I know my whole life, I think I've unknowingly wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I didn't even know what that was. I just knew that I wanted to make my own calls. And it's really great because we actually just got back from Montana last night, and we did just a week-long ski vacation. And then like next month, we're gonna go to Cancun, and I'm gonna have a bunch of artists there. We're gonna have a big mural meetup there, and I'm going to Cambodia to paint there in May. And so just there's a lot of freedom that comes with working for yourself, and I don't have to ask my boss if I can take off. And I spend about, I'd say I work maybe 10 months per year. So there's 2 whole months, like split up, that I'm just doing whatever I want. Maybe I want to take a week off to just hang out at the house and hang out with family or whatnot. Or if I want to go gallivanting around Asia somewhere, it's just, as long as I plan, I'm my own boss. So as long as I schedule my clients around that, then I can do whatever I want.
Awesome.
What is some of your most high-selling art pieces?
Murals by far. So as in specific murals, so just to give you some number figures, typically my average mural cost is around $1,500, and that's about a 2-day project, maybe, or maybe even a 1-day project. But then my higher ones have gone, I've painted multiple murals for one company, and anywhere from like $10,000 to $20,000 for bigger projects like that typically take about a month, maybe. Yeah.
Awesome. That's amazing. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, murals are very profitable. If you want to get into murals, I think it's just because it's so big and it's such a different kind of strategy, or a different kind of skill that not a lot of artists do. I think there's a lot of room for other artists to come up and learn. If you want to learn that, there's just a lot of money in it, and it's a lot easier for me to sell somebody on an idea that they've thought of. So like if I come into your home and you want a big castle painted on your wall, and you tell me what that looks like, and then I paint it, that sale is really easy, as compared to if I paint something that I want. Say I paint like a big castle in my own style on a piece of canvas, and I make it exactly how I want it. I put a rainbow and a unicorn in there, and I just have fun with it. It's a lot harder to sell that to someone else because it's my idea, it's not theirs. So people will pay a lot more, and it's just a lot easier for, if you listen to your customer. And that's really all my business is. Like I paint for myself some, and they sell some, but it's really just my customer is, it's just figuring out what's in their heads and then trying to put it on the wall. And it's with a little bit of my flair, but it's really just their idea. And we work together with that.
Awesome.
Okay. What drives you to do art?
Well, every other job is just boring to me. Really, as soon as I started painting for myself, I tried to go back. So like I had to go back and work some other jobs when I was trying to like build up my business, and it was just torture. Because once you get a little taste of painting for yourself and working for yourself and just making the calls and having a paintbrush in your hand and making money that way, it's the best job. It's like I was born to do this job. And then when I try to go do other customer service jobs, it's painful. So it's just not as fun. I guess so fun is what drives me.
Awesome.
Cool. Let me do this one.
Mhm.
What designs, what inspires your creativity? You.
Yeah, what inspires your creativity, or what inspires you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I started out painting for Bass Pro Shops. So that's where I got my big break. I went to college and then I was out of college doing some window paintings, and then I got referred to Bass Pro Shops. Really lucky early in my career and painted for them. And their style was it's very natural, and it's very like, it's fun, it's nice, but it's like it's very natural. A lot of browns and a lot of dirt colors and greens and stuff. And so when I was done with that, I had to kind of build up my own business in a way. So I still paint for Bass Pro Shops sometimes, but not as much. So I had to figure out my own. I started painting like that because that's what I knew worked. And it took me a while to really dig into my own creativity and say, maybe I want to use all the colors on my palette and maybe make a rainbow animal or whatever. And so as soon as I started doing that, as soon as I got brave enough to do that, then it just made everything so much more fun. And I attract customers who also like that, who like the brighter colors and the higher saturation, and maybe you want it, a little bit more like childlike even, and fun rather than very natural. So bright colors and just, again, fun is what inspires my creativity.
Awesome.
What is your inspiration today?
What's what inspires me?
Yeah. Or what inspires you to keep going, or today, or what's that current thing that's, motivating you?
Yeah.
Freedom is really the thing. So I grew up very humbly, very humble, and I had single mom, grew up in a trailer. We did the whole thing. Money was a big problem when I was growing up, and so I just, now I want to work as hard as I can and as smart as I can in order to set myself up to have that freedom. And it's freedom of schedule, freedom of finances, freedom of just my time. And so I know that if I work smart and I market towards those higher paying clients and do the higher paying jobs that are also really fun for me and have the fun colors, all of that together, then just frees my time up to travel and maybe make a family one day and do all that stuff. So freedom.
Awesome.
What advice would you give me for starting my own online art business?
Oh gosh, that's a loaded question. Well, it's step by step in the book. And if you want to listen to the book, I think it's a lot more fun just to listen to it on Audible. Personally, I don't really read that much, but I will listen to books all day long while I'm painting. But so the first step is just paint every single day. I think that, or be creative every single day. So draw, do something, because at the stage you're at right now, getting good at art and getting really good at it, the better you can get at it. And we all start at this level, right? That's you can draw a little bit, you can do this, all these different things, but there's so many steps up that the more you practice, the faster you can get up there. Because my art when I was in high school, I was all right, but I was okay. But it really, practice is the thing. And the better you are at art, the easier it is to market yourself. And the more people are just going to automatically share. Because if you draw a big tiger and it's so realistic and so cool, people will share that rather than, if an artist hasn't practiced as much, because that's all it is. It's training our eyes. Nobody is born with any amount of this talent. So an artist's eye, we're born with the skill to copy something. That's all it is. It's just looking at your reference photo and then drawing from it or painting from it, and just constantly going back to that reference photo and training your eye to be a really well-oiled copy machine. That's it. And so the better you can be at copying something. So if you have a photo of a lion right here and you're trying to draw it, just going back and forth. And the better you can get at that, the easier everything else is going to be. So that's step one. And then we can figure out marketing and stuff later.
Awesome.
Okay. What is the future of art and selling art?
Oh gosh. So we're getting more and more digital, but I think there's still something to be said about having something hand painted. And we're in the era of vinyl. And vinyl is my competition, basically. So because you can get something printed for less of a cost than you can get it to be painted on a wall typically. However, it doesn't last as long. And there's just kind of almost like a plastic element to that. So I think we're going to get more and more digital, but I also think there's going to be, with that, there's going to be still that small percent that of people who want something hand painted that will pay well for it and who appreciate, you know, the hand painted thing. So I think it's going to get even more digital, like with NFTs. If you want to get into that, highly recommended, because there's a lot of artists out there who are thinking that it's too hard right now and are not going to do it. But NFTs are our future, and I think they're going to be everywhere in 10 years. So the faster you want to get on digital art, the better. But there will be still.
What is NFT?
Oh, so an NFT is a non-fungible token, and
Okay.
basically, so it's kind of like in the crypto space.
Okay.
And it's basically you take like a picture of your art and you put it online, and there's a whole lot to it, but you like people can buy then your NFT and then they can sell it kind of like stocks, but the artist will retain the rights to that and you get sales every time it sells. So it's just, I mean, people are just making crazy amounts selling these like non-fungible tokens, which are essentially photos of things. But I think in the future, people are going to end up trading with these. Like they're going to be part of video games, they're going to be part of all the stuff. So if you like digital, there's definitely a space for that. But if you like hand painted, there's a space for everything too.
Great.
Okay.
Only 2 more questions.
How would you
How-
figure? How do you figure out how to price your art?
Oh my gosh, that's the hardest part. Like, it's so if somebody reaches out to me and they say that they want a mural, and they want a quote, I will typically base it on how long it's going to take me. So how many hours I'm going to be spending on that. And so I have an hourly rate right now of $100, and it started out free. First off, I started out free and just like doing stuff and giving things out. And then out of college, I started out about $30 an hour. So after I had a bunch of skills and could do it, but not necessarily very fast, started at 30. And then I'd say about every year I raised it about $10. So from 40 to 50 to 60, and now we're at $100 an hour, which is nuts. And like, so if someone says they want a mural, and they want a big tiger on the wall, and I'll ask them, you know, do you want it realistic or do you want it more cartoony? Because that takes, you know, certain levels take different time. And so a lot of the times I'll ask them, is there a budget you're wanting to stick within, like not go over? And then I'll just make it as cool as I possibly can within their budget. But I'll say if it's going to take me a day and a half, I'll be like, great, that's going to be $1,500. And then I'll sketch it out for them and we'll have a pretty good idea of the design. And it might change a little bit on the wall, and then I'll just paint. And then they usually pay a deposit and then they pay the rest after it's done, and they love it.
Awesome.
Okay.
This is about what you're planning on doing. So if you want to just talk about it instead of reading the question, you can.
Okay. So I don't know how to
want me
phrase
to-
this question.
Do you want me to explain it?
Yeah, I don't know how
Okay.
to phrase it.
So for her passion project, she is working on creating some art and selling some art. And so
Mhm.
originally she was thinking that she would kind of ask customers, like she'd have basic design ideas and then go to her customers and say what colors and which design.
And then they would like pick like section number 1 is blue or something, and then just so on.
And then as we were talking about it more, I said, well, what about, so let's say you end up with 30 orders, you're not having to paint that many. What if you did a couple really great designs and we did kind of make them digital and did something more like greeting cards, where it would be easier to kind of reproduce and sell if there were more than like 5 orders. So just wanted your thoughts and feedback on which direction you think she should go.
Yeah, I say both. Like to try everything, because you never know. It just depends on the design. So again, it's harder to sell something that I created, you know, and with you can definitely do that. You can take a high quality photo and then you can get them printed at your local printer. But however, I wouldn't get them printed, and I would do pre-orders if you do that. Or actually, ask your audience, like ask them what they want, because we all the time, like I'll do this too. I'm actually right now getting ready to create it's like a memory game type thing, and with all of my paintings that you like flip over and you have to memorize it and stuff like that. And I had this idea yesterday, so I created a little mock-up of what they kind of would be, but I'm not going to go make them until I post it online. I'm going to say, hey, does anybody want to buy this game? Blah, blah, blah. It's going to have 20 of my paintings on it, and it'll be really great for kids. And it'll be this. So I'm going to ask them if they want it. And then if a bunch of people comment, say, yeah. And then I'll make a link and I'll be like, okay, you can pre-order, and then they'll be available next month. And so if I get at least 2 or 3 pre-orders, then I'm going to go ahead and make them. But that's easier to where it's like, if I made the whole game and like, everybody's going to love this, and then I put it up for sale and they're like, no, our memories are fine, we don't want that at all. Like, you just never know what, like, just because I think it's a good idea, it doesn't mean that everybody else is going to. So a lot of times I'll make a pre-order, and actually I did that for my book. I was going to write it anyway, but I did some pre-orders for the book, and that helps me like, oh, okay, people are actually going to want this. And it helps me, like, give me a boost to really finish it on time. But yeah, taking a pre-order and just polling your audience. You're like, hey, do you want this? Would you want something custom? If so, this would be the price. And a lot of people will give you feedback, but until they give you your credit card, like, it doesn't matter. So, and just kind of see what they want.
Awesome. That's great suggestion.
Yeah.
That was actually your idea, wasn't it? You wanted to do a survey first.
Yeah.
and-
Oh,
that was Dad's idea, but then I agreed to this idea.
Oh, it's Dad. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that is all the questions we have.
Yes.
Yeah. So we really appreciate your time. I'm going
Yes.
to stop recording.